China and Tibet fight to control the Dalai Lama's next reincarnation in Tibet. Well, technically not Tibet. Anyways, on July 6th, the current Dalai Lama, Tenzin Gyatso, turned 86. As the Dalai Lama grows older, the political pressure surrounding his succession has mounted. He will either name a successor or leave the world behind, especially Tibet, more vulnerable to China's aggression. The fight for the next Dalai Lama has expanded far beyond the spiritual boundaries of Buddhism. It has evolved from a mere religious tradition to a global geopolitical struggle, with powerful nations competing for control over the next reincarnation of the Dalai Lama. For example, the US and India have been working together, creating a surveillance network around Tenzin Gyatso. In 2020, the US updated its policies on Tibet, announcing that Tibet can select the next Dalai Lama without interference from other nations. Beijing vehemently opposed this move from the US. So I think this is something that's very important to talk about. I feel like over the past few decades, the Tibetan struggle, or the struggle to free Tibet from China's authoritarian influence and ongoing cultural genocide project, has diminished. I don't hear as much attention about it. And I think it's very interesting to think about what's at play here. Kind of a theme for what we've been talking about today in other segments is authoritarian states or leaders' interest in controlling groups that have allegiances outside of their state and their narrative and their authority, and suppressing any dissent and trying to mandate loyalty to their rule. And Tibet is a very good example of this. For example, in the Tibetan region, it's forbidden to have pictures of the Dalai Lama because this is a group that is deeply committed to their cultural identity. And part of their cultural identity is a loyalty and reverence to this figure that directly challenges the interests and authorities of the Communist Party of China. And as you know, the Dalai Lama is healthy now. He had a cancer scare a few years ago. But this is going to become increasingly more important as he ages. And well, before I go any further, Armin, do you have any thoughts on this?
I just have a question. Is there a chance that we're going to have two lamas, two Dalai Lamas, two Dalis?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So we're going to have a Chinese selected Dalai Lama and a Tibetan Dalai Lama. Wait, this is actually government authorities deciding whose soul is going to be transferred from this guy to the next. Like, the next Dalai Lama is the reincarnation of this guy that we're looking at, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we're talking about, yeah, so-called, yeah, of course. But we're basically talking about government officials deciding who has the authority to decide which body the soul of this man has gone to after he died. Wait, the next Dalai Lama is going to be a baby, right? Like, it's not going to be a grown man. Or like, when they pick a Dalai Lama, it's going to be like is it a newborn baby or is it like a fetus? Like, because...
No, it's usually a newborn.
Okay. So so can the Chinese government answer questions like what tools they have to evaluate, like what measuring techniques, how do they validate whose soul, how do they have a soul detector, and how do they identify if this person's soul is in the baby? Like, what measuring techniques do they have? Is it falsifiable? Can other scientists come and validate it? Like, how does this done? Like, when they're like, oh, this is the baby that is the Dalai Lama, how do they identify that? How do they know that this is a reincarnation of the Dalai Lama? Is there do souls have like a DNA, like a soul DNA that they measure the level of Buddha? I mean, the Dalai Lama is like supposed to be a reincarnation of the Buddha, right?
I am not sure about, because Tibetan Buddhism is very distinct. I don't know if that's actually a good question. I don't know if it's directly the Buddha so much as the soul of another guru, kind of in the
Basically.
path of how Jains work or Jainism works. I don't know how the Chinese government will go about, saying that they have found the correct Dalai Lama, but the moral of the story is that they have an interest in finding whoever that they can control and who will adopt their the state line, the party line, right? So what I do know is that there's not just one Lama, like Dalai Lama is the highest Lama, but there are many other kinds of Lamas. And there are many other instances of the Chinese government already appointing these secondary or tertiary levels of Lamas and profiles of these state appointed Lamas and what they're like and how they're different. The general process of establishing the next Lama, any Lama, can take years. It involves many superstitious traditions, such as maybe while the Lama is being burned on the funeral pyre, what direction the smoke goes will help tell the other, high level monk officials which direction to go look. And then I believe one of the methods to establish who is the correct incarnation is they will find a baby through whatever direction that they happen to go look for the correct baby. And they will present the baby a variety of objects. And some of these objects will be belongings of the previous Lama. And then if the baby gravitates towards or quote unquote recognizes the possessions from his quote unquote past life, then that is how the traditional Tibetans establish who the next Lama is. It's a very interesting process. In fact, the Associated Press put out a profile recently of a lower level Lama who's actually like living out in Minnesota. So, or somewhere in the Midwest in the US. He's a 14-year-old American teenager. But he's also being raised to be a Lama, and he went through halfway across the world this process to identify himself as a reincarnation. But that at the same time, he likes to listen to Drake. He's a fan of the Atlanta Falcons. But he's 14 years old and he goes to school with everyone else, but he has a shaved head and he spends the rest of his time memorizing Buddhist scripture and mantras and his traditions, which is extremely important given the concerted effort to completely eradicate the traditional Tibetan culture and completely homogenize them into an ethnic Chinese Han, assimilate them into that kind of identity, learn his traditional language as well. That's very important because that's also trying to be eradicated. So it's a very complicated process. I'm not sure exactly how the Chinese government picks, who they think is the next Lama and how they try to legitimize that. But obviously, ultimately, it's over who they can control and who will obey them.
Make the babies fight.
Shut up.
Make the Chinese
I can't stand
make the Tibetan pick baby and the Chinese picks one. Just fine. What? Stream it live.
Oh my god. Armin, do you know who Hezbollah is? Not Hezbollah, but do you know who Hezbollah is?
No.
Okay, he is a
Who's that?
18-year-old Dagestani Russian man who has a growth deficit, so he looks like a permanent baby. And he recently had a fight with another man who has the same disorder from Tajikistan, and so it looks legitimately like two babies fighting.
Is that
Hasbullah,
what?
he's like a celebrity. Anyways, so that's exactly what I imagined. People who know, they know what I'm talking about.
I mean, come on. I mean, is there a better way? I don't know. Everything else is just like guesswork. If you're the real Dalai Lama, you will have some powers in your favor, right?
Oh my gosh. Oh, so
You will
liberal
win.
Hindu answered our question. So he is considered a living bodhisattva, specifically an emanation of, oh, this is an intimidating word. Avalokitesvara.
Wait, so that means he is a reincarnation of Buddha. Just test the soul for bunny DNA. The Buddha was a bunny at some point. Did you know that?
No.
One of it, yeah, the Buddha, one of his reincarnation in his life was this, at some point in his life he was a bunny. Just let
Whoa.
if baby fighting is too hard, just see which one of them likes carrots more. I don't know, or just yeah, because yeah.
In the corner, weighing 10 pounds and 11 ounces. In the Pedialyte, weight category.
This is, but guys, what's actually happening is not more ridiculous. Like, we're talking about the most powerful, one of the most powerful states in the whole world, decided like finding a baby to see like this baby is the reincarnation of not that baby, because like it's amazing. It's just like it's so amazing. Like I don't know if this is like the real world, but apparently this is what we're dealing with. Like the fact that borders and separatist movements and authoritarianism and government control over regions of the second most powerful country in the world, second largest economy in the world, could be destabilized as there's a threat to it, based on these people from Tibet picking this baby as a reincarnation of some guy who's dying, and this government wanting to be like, no, this baby is the reincarnation of the fact that it comes down to this, it just seems like this would be, it's just amazing that we're living in that world. You know what I mean? Like, from all the worlds that we're living in, the fact that this is the world that we're in, that this is actually a real thing. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like, is this really
when you
happening?
look at like it objectively from that purview, like seems very like silly and superstitious and ridiculous. But it's also one of the most serious things in the world, because it's one of the longest ongoing like cultural genocidal projects like in modern history, and it's what's at stake is the identity of an entire ethnic group and their traditional way of life, and obviously decades long authoritarian project to deprive people of their religious freedom. So
yeah, I know, but I'm just saying it's amazing that this is where we are right now.
This is what it comes down to.
I'm just noticing that this is our world now, right? Like, this is currently our world, and I'm just like, I'm just looking at it with amazement. That's all.
I did think it was kind of interesting that the U.S. made sure to update its policies that in Tibet can select, the next Dalai Lama. That kind of surprised me. I don't know how much our authority on this like even matters, but the support helps. Probably helps.
Yes, you get to pick your Dalai Lama. Only if you're a good boy. If you're not, we'll pick it.
Well, the Dalai Lama was actually speculating that he may come back as a woman, which is that was very controversial.
Okay, actually, that's very interesting. Okay, when the Dalai Lama said that he might come back as a woman, do you think he was trying to be progressive, or that was his dream, or that's some of his, like, maybe that was like something that maybe he needs to tell us something.
Oh.
Maybe it was like, it would have been nice if I was like maybe a woman next time.
I mean, I could get into that. I think
Yeah.
most people are probably curious about what life on the other side is like.
No, yeah. Anyways, or maybe he was just trying to be like. It would be amazing if like they both pick a baby girl then, just so that they were like, look, this is like, oh wow. Imagine if the Chinese government and also Tibetan officials, they're like, both come up with baby girls as the next Dalai Lama, and they didn't suspect the other side would be do this. Like, yeah, they would both shock each other. Like, ours is correct because it's a baby girl, and that's what the Dalai Lama said. Like, haha, ours is also a baby girl.
That'd be so funny. They're like trying
Guys,
to
we
out
should make
progressive
this-
each other.
Yeah. You know what?
Gosh.
Actually, the most amazing thing would be if the next Dalai Lama was a baby boy, okay? And they say like, oh, the Dalai Lama was wrong. And then ends up being trans. So the Dalai Lama was right, but not in the way that not in the way people thought he was.
I'm into this.
That's
That's freaking cool.
Yeah, this should be a movie.
You're a genius. Hey guys, if you're a fan of Blasphemy and Sexy Callie, like me, then you need to be sure to subscribe to our newsletter, link in the description below. Because if you subscribe, we will send you a free copy of our Blasphemous Art ebook. And let me tell you, it is the tastiest blasphemy that you can find anywhere available today. And we are so generous with our blasphemy that we continue to send you more blasphemy every week. So make sure to subscribe, link in the description below.